Perfect. All right. Are you ready? I'm going to play some
Yes.
music. I like to jam it out to get people ready to talk because dancing stands out.
You're so funny.
All right. Just like, because it helps break the ground to be able to talk about things. You know what I mean? So, hello, everybody. I would like to say howdy and welcome to Pinky's Powerhouse Productions podcast. My name is Tanya, aka Pinky. When life kicks you in the gut or slaps you in the face, how do you get back up? What motivates you or inspires you to find the passion and energy to fight and be heard, taking back your life, and then showing others how to inspire and reclaim their power? Let's dive in. This week's guest, we have Ranchera Mami, Susan. She is amazing. She has her own ranch, and we can't wait to dive into her stories. Thank you, Rancher. I'm sorry, Susan. Wait, hold it, ready? We're gonna do some cheering. Thank you for being here today.
Well,
Okay,
thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
we're so excited you're here with us today. I know you've done so many things in the community because you're a powerful Latina. I just like, please, it's not my job to tell your story, but I know that you're an amazing and powerful woman and have some amazing stories that I would love other people to hear and love you to share.
I love that. Thank you for the wonderful introduction. And I'm so glad that I got to see you in Vegas at MJ BizCon this past year, second year in a row that I've gotten to give you a nice big hug on the floor.
You're beautiful.
So, so yeah, I am Sue. I am a third generation Latina farmer. I am the owner and main cultivator and geneticist for Ranchera Familia, and also the beautiful wife of Craquito. And we are the legacy of Crockett Family Farms, creator of Tangy, Strawberry Banana, Clementine, and much more. So my story starts out Oregon 8 years ago. No, probably like 10 years ago now. I've been telling you my story for a long time at this point. So I came into the cannabis industry when it was the black market days. So working in Oregon and Northern California, I was, a glorified water girl, a trimmer, or AKA a trimmigrant, and found myself really at awe and love with the whole vibe, the whole money portion, just like working as a trimmer for X amount of months out of the year. And so when recreational hit up in Oregon, I was going to school for my master's of science within public health administration. And so I started to work within licensed medicinal facilities that were turning recreational. And I pretty much started from the ground up. If you think about like packaging, stickering, labeling, all of those kinds of things right there to, predate that of cleaning. So I started as a cleaner at my first recreational job. And so I cleaned their facility and I kept asking, like every single day, I was like, hey, do you guys have any work available for me? Like, can I do anything else? Like, I'd really like a full-time job. I don't want to just clean, a chocolate facility, a few days a week. I'd like to do something more. And so, I moved into like making the boxes and putting stickers on things and, doing more like the packaging like side of things. Upwards to the point where, I really climbed the ladder of, working in industrial kitchens to, being hired on from the first female owned and operated cannabis facility up in Oregon, and transitioning into my life now. I helped multiple companies win awards for edible recipes in the state of Oregon and Washington, and it really found myself looking at the therapeutic levels of the plant itself. And so I always thought that working with the plant just was a very medicinal, a medicinal therapy for anybody, right? So like for myself specifically, I found that like it was like a lot of aromatherapy. I felt that it was like meditative task. Like the working with the plant, having the resin on my skin, I just felt that I felt intrinsically high like all the time without even smoking a lot, just because I worked with the plant. And so I had a really big calling to find myself on more of the cultivation side of things. And so during that time period, I ended up going down to California to trade some seeds with a friend, and met the love of my life, Graquido, at the Emerald Cup in 2018. I want to say. He says I always get dates wrong. So we've been together for like 8 years. So um, we met each other trading seeds.
The medicine brought you together.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. So like we have a really like kismet like nature just like in our relationship itself. But also that same relationship with the plants. And so like a lot of times like if you were to ask me like could I date somebody or could I have married somebody that didn't, work with plants, or they weren't a cultivator, or we didn't have our own farm, I would probably say no, I couldn't, because I absolutely love and I adore the plant. And so I feel like the plant is like I am called to be like a steward like of the land itself, and I think that that plant is like my spirit animal. But when it comes to like what I could grow, like that's my spirit animal like out
Love
of
and
that.
buds.
Just like the white fox is my native, actual spirit animal. I'm like the plants that I could pick from, and like cannabis is definitely like that spirit animal for me.
Well, isn't it true you guys actually got married on your ranch, right? So I mean, then because you actually that's one of those things, the attributes that you sell on your ranch is the wedding ceremonies and such that they can have. It's
Yeah, because a lot of people they're still not kosher with like cannabis and smoking in general. Like they'll allow for all like I like to drink too. Like I don't care. So it's like they
more
allow
about
for all the
smoking than drinking.
alcohol, or they'll allow for like people to smoke cigarettes. But finding a place that we could really like be ourselves, and it's like as a medical patient, like I'm sorry, like I do consume a lot, and the reason why I say I'm sorry is because I feel like it continues to offend people sometimes, like whether it's my like family or friends, of like them being like, well, why do you have to smoke? And it's like, well, you take whatever medicine you feel like you want, that you're prescribed to, and that's your form of therapy. But unfortunately, like I have, like I don't touch Advil, I don't touch Tylenol, I don't touch Benadryl, like I won't take something like that. So like I don't take a Vicodin, Percocet, no, like hydrocodone, like
Marijuana
so
is medicine. Yes, I
I
understand.
can't. I don't. I when I say I can't take them, it's because I don't believe in taking them. So I'm not going to take them. And my form of medicine that I particularly choose is cannabis itself. So, and the fact is like because I choose to smoke it, the like the efficacy of it, it's like I may have to smoke like every few hours. And so, yeah, a lot of my life is built off of if I can't smoke, I'm not going to go. And I just think of like literally like
You
Snoop
offer a
Dogg's
smoke
always,
area, right? Because they don't really do that for
yeah.
weddings. So I mean, that's what I'm
Did you?
saying is you're opening the doors and blazing, so that way you're setting the precedence to open up that there are other choices for venues or for a wedding. Because again,
Exactly.
use an
You
example
know?
of at the holidays, if your family they always bring over a 12 pack of beer or whatever, say this is your 12 pack of beer. It's the same thing. It's just everybody's got different vices or different things on how to celebrate or enjoy.
Exactly. So I think that like giving a space to like ourselves, like on something that's supposed to be an important day, and then being able to give a space to other people too, because we've had friends and other family members get married at our property that they like to consume, as well, and so it's been nice to be able to have a space like that that's available like in our general area.
And bless you for blazing the trails for new opportunities. Open, because sometimes you can't um, understand or have a conception until it's there and it gives you a visualization, and then they're like, "Oh, that is a great idea." And so, kudos.
Thank you. And I, of course, as you should know, like anytime you're ever in California, if you want to come visit, one, we can go ride horses together. We can go ride dirt bikes.
So I would seriously,
Do
I would
all
be
the fun
honored to
things.
tour
You can
your
stay
farm
with
and to
us.
learn all of that. Because, like, I mean, I was into watching Jim Belushi and his show, about his marijuana. Was in Oregon, you know what I mean, and stuff. But there wasn't
Yeah.
enough episodes. Like, he only gave you like three. I'm like, that's a season.
Yeah.
What are you saying? I mean, literally, you could, make a documentary and then sell it. This is,
You're
I'm
like,
just
I'm trying
saying.
to live vicariously, like we
Yeah.
like to see what people on their farms are up to and
Well,
everything
even
like
the
that.
concept. I mean, because look at now, you got marijuana and coffee, you got marijuana drinks. I mean, not necessarily do you have edibles or tinctures and stuff. People are putting it in different things. But before we even smoked it as a medicine, I mean, hemp. You know what I mean? It makes certain things in this world. Rope that we use. You could use it to rope cows. I'm just saying, hemp. There's the powerful attributes of not just the medicine. If we could really get people to understand the importance and education of it, that the first and foremost, it's a medicine just like any other, and it's way better than you can grow in a petri dish or have a scientist come up with it and have to swallow it that your body does not understand or process. So
I mean, let alone, I'm like, food is medicine itself too. It's like the
people are addicted to food too. That's why we have obesity in the world. So I love food. Like,
Me too.
I love to eat.
I am obsessed with hot Cheetos and hot Doritos. Like
Hmm.
we did our my pinata, and what I asked for gummies. I wanted gushers, and then
Oh,
I got gushers in it, and then I got all these different like hot Cheetos and hot Doritos, like little snack bags and everything like that, and I wanted all of like what I would consider like my naughty food. I'm just like, let me get that. That's my adult pinata right there. Is like adult snacks.
so tell me some of the stories. I know we could go on and probably have a full 12 episodes for the year with all the wonderful things and some of the obstacles that you've had to endure. I know that. So what made you the progression to want to own the ranch? How did you come upon finding the ranch and realizing this is going to be my center? Because from here it's the root, and then you can grow your umbrella from there for what directions besides education, growing, selling. You know what I mean, and merchandising. How did you come up with that idea, or did it fall into your lap? Did you marry into it? Like, tell me, like, I guess inquiring minds want to know.
It's funny. It's funny. No, actually, one of the funny things my friend had said, it was when I one of our business partners and our friends, and I think he was just upset because he was losing me as a partner at the farm that we had it, and I did a lot. Well, I mean, I did the day to day, like work and stuff. So I was like, he was losing me in one of the employees basically, and so he tells me. He's like, oh, so you guys, he's like, you mean, when I told him, I was like, I told the whole team, I said, hey, I love you guys. I'm going to be leaving, right? I was like, me and Croquito bought a farm in California. And my business partner, who I love and everything like that, he looks at me and he's like, what do you mean we bought a farm? He's like, you mean Croquito bought you a farm? And I said, yeah. But the difference, I'm like, there's no difference in it. Because at the
I
end of the day, my life that I had projected for myself of like going to school, getting a degree, starting my farm up in Oregon, like the truth of the matter is that Craquito and I have always been supportive of each other throughout business deals, throughout any partnerships that we have. And, like the thing is that we've shown up for each other in every single capacity. And whether it was a deal that I helped him with that I took no money from, the reality is that the what we have we built together. And so a lot of times, you could say, oh, Craquito, he built that life for her, right? And it's like, I already had success before I met my husband.
He's
I
just
was
giving you.
already on track to be, a powerhouse leader in the industry. And I found somebody that believed in me and that supported me and my visions that I had, that, made it easy for me to say, hey, like, I don't have to actually go look for an outside investor. I have somebody that knows that I'm going to stay up in Oregon and he can stay down in California, or either we can build a life together, and he can support that through purchasing a farm in California that would be in an area that allows for, hemp cultivation on the, agriculture side of things. And am I very blessed and lucky to have a partner that sees all of that in me? Yes, I am. And I think that a lot of times when you
Holy
see women like myself and you say, well, was it their partner that built it and they just, benefited off of
these are
it?
the
I think
small-ended
that there's
people. So you have to
there
just like, because
exactly.
you know what you guys are for each other. You know the value for each other, and you know your solidness. It's just other people are going to be jealous of what you guys are and what you have together, and try to break that apart.
And
Unfortunately,
even if I didn't do nothing, and if there's a ton of women out there that don't do shit in that realm, there's not like a, hey, I helped him build something. Hey, I'm the person behind all of the, like, the business paperwork, the regulations, like, I'm the, person that
you
does all the
started from the bottom.
photography or the marketing or whatever it is. Like, there's a lot of things that are out there that are, when you own a business yourself, that automatically your partners are going to be of help for you. And whether it's them cooking you a meal, taking care of your house, or it's taking your stock photos for your, your website, or doing your filing for your licensing and everything like that. Like, women, there's so many women that are like me that don't have their own business as well, but they are the true backbone of their relationship. And so when you see a strong partner, whether it's, a male and a female, or, it doesn't matter, because if you have a strong partnership, and if you have somebody that's like, they have a successful business, and if they're happy and they're being supported, know that their partner over here is giving them so much to build and to keep that person who they need to be every single day. It
Well,
is.
they're always benefiting. Come on, I mean, no matter what you give that person, however much success, they're going to be sharing that success with you. So, I mean, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and you should have a partner that's willing to do those things, because I mean, I had an ex before that, like, I lost my job, and they had their own grow facility, and they told me that, like, they would not give me a job. And I was like, what do you mean? You want me to be your wife? Like, you want me to do all this other stuff for you, and then you're asking me what I'm going to do with my life as well. But you have the opportunity to just give me a job right now and take that burden away from me. But you won't do it because of society constraints of being like, no, no girlfriends, or like, nobody's allowed to hire their girlfriend or whatever it is. And it's like, those things are so silly. And if you're ever in a relationship with anybody ever who has the opportunity to give you a helping hand as your spouse, as your partner, and they don't do it, fuck them, leave them.
I say
because
red
they'll
flag. All
never
right.
support you in the way that you need in your life. And there will be people in your
I
life that
don't
will
agree.
say, hey, don't worry that you just got fired. I'm going to go work double time this week. Or, hey, you know what? I built a life for you so that you can have less stress, so that you can be peaceful, so that you can give me everything internally that I need. I'm like, there's people out there that will do that. So like, don't ever settle on anybody that 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 intentionally withholds anything to benefit you in life. Just
Well,
because.
I've been
Just
single for a
because.
very long time because I guess I have an application. Do you have goals? Do you want to do what do you want to do in the world? Do you give back to your community? I mean, just little things like I'm sorry, I've been celibate. I don't know, just I celebrate people, so
Mhm.
because everybody that you spend time with should be, I wouldn't say recharging you, but encouraging you to be the person that you want to be, or even work on encouraging on your better self.
Exactly. Like, and when I think back to my previous relationships, like one of my biggest fuels in my fire was dating a guy in Northern California, who told me that I was valueless. And
Okay,
they told
next,
me that
there's
I
the door.
was
See you later.
not
Don't
worth
let it do
nothing,
that.
that those things. And I still think about them today, but that's like, I think about them in the way that I
But that
knew
was
that I was never any of those things. I was so much more than that. And to think the fact is like, I'm like, oh, you said all of those things about me, right? And I'm like, but I'm the one now that's been featured in Forbes. I've been featured on High Times. Like, I've been featured in Herb. Like, I was the California State Takeover host for MJ BizCon. And it's like, yeah, you can think all those things that you want to think, but baby, I proved you wrong. And I didn't just do it for you, I did it for myself and every other woman that's out there.
exactly. Set the example. Yes, ma'am.
And I'd be laughing too because his favorite breeder was my father in law. He loved Tangy. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm like, the best revenge is that right there.
So, do you have children? Do you like? I'm just gonna say as
No,
an
we don't.
example,
We have
because
50 farm animals. We don't have
oh,
children.
I'm saying that's
Yeah.
children perfectly. So, because I was
Yeah, yeah. Now would
sure,
we like children? We would like children, but honestly, my husband, he's 2 years younger than me. We both said we wanted to be married, before we, had children and everything like that. And, I feel like it's important to allow ourselves to grow, our business and to find stability. And when the industry is ever changing, it's always, and the fact that like I'm like we travel a lot as well. So, it's like finding the right time to do to do the whole process. But for
well,
now, I have tons of little tias that I absolutely love, or I have tons of little nephews and nieces that call me Tia that I absolutely love.
aw. So you found basically, I mean, it makes perfect sense, because if you started from the bottom from cleaning to like you're gaining all this information, then you can actually now you're a speaker and owner and CEO of your own. So you can see your self progression. Like along the way, the things that were obstacles in your way, to realize you needed to redirect yourself, especially even exes or people. When somebody is saying those things to you, you're like, those are to be stimulatory of your normal day, to give you a flash to make you second guess and think, do I really want this? And those are to put a speed bump in your day, or you're in your lane, to say maybe I need to change my lane because this doesn't seem to be where I need to be. You know what I mean? And so that empowers yourself when you can recognize those things. Not everybody can. They just, oh, I gotta go here, or I'm sad. When you realize sometimes you lose your job because there's someplace better that you're going to make more money, you're going to be in control of yourself and be your own boss, but that door is open, but you were scared to try it or whatever. So those, how did that lead you? I mean, because obviously now you're on your own, but I mean, it was like devastating stories because obviously being a woman and not being taken seriously. Because I don't care whether it's just the marijuana industry, but we need more badass women CEOs across the board, across the United States and international. That women need to be more. Even go back to like the pay rate of whatever we're doing, whatever our experiences and our jobs are. We need to be accommodated to be being paid to our equals, even if we didn't, because we don't have the same sex organs as the next person. That should be eliminated. We should have equal pay for everyone, right? So
Most
how do you?
definitely. I think that when I broke my hand. I've broken it a bunch actually, but like
Well,
the same one,
growing,
but just like a
flipping, and tripping. Yeah.
multiple different bones in it. And
Well,
so
that's
I was working for a company up in Oregon, and they had I had been on disability leave for like 3 months. And the day that I was coming back to work was the day that was told that my job no longer exists, right? And that they
oh,
were like
that's a
downsizing, which
slap
was
in your
not the case. And but it was something that like made me kind of think like, hey, like you have this skill set, like you're a badass chocolatier, like there's multiple consulting opportunities available right now. So I went into consulting for recipe build out and for teaching people how to temper chocolate, like using these like high end $30,000 chocolate machines. And so when I started to do that, I started to move into the realm of these CBD manufacturers popping up in the state of Oregon, and would go over to their facilities. And, one of the things that I was seeing was that there was a lot of really low grade, hemp flower that was being used to make these edibles. And so, like, at the end of the day, like they're asking me, why does it keep tasting like this?
Oh, hold on. Just one moment, please. Technical difficulties. So, I hope that you are listening, hearing the stories. Anybody and everybody can do anything they put their mind to. It's about realizing, conceptualizing, and then it's Legos, putting them together, and then you need to get the goosebumps and the hairs on your arms, and you're ready to go and do um, amazing things because anybody and everybody has the power within themselves to realize how to make a difference for yourself or how to bring it into the world and do something different. Hey,
Yeah.
welcome back.
Okay.
Yes. I did a little
So,
scary end for Mary Jane too. We did it like 3 times, so it's all good. This is raw.
that's funny. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I saw the hemp flower and I was like, you know what? I think I have enough skill set to actually produce my own hemp flower. So I started in a 10 by 30 greenhouse. Not temperature controlled or climate controlled or anything like that, but just something small that I could manage. And that was my first crop. It was my first license. So I've been a licensed industrial hemp farmer for 7 years now, two in the state of Oregon and five in the state of California. Um, and which I think is, quite a feat. I was the youngest licensed hemp registry up in the state of Oregon. And the fact that I was the youngest female at the age of 25. And so being able to kind of uh do those things, that's really what led me into being like, hey, I want a bigger hemp farm. I want to do solely outdoor farming. I'm very, like, I like the sun. I like to be outside, everything like that. So that's really, like, from being fired from that job to the consulting to, seeing that there was a gap within the industry of like what flower was being produced and like how I could really elevate that and showcase that, like, we can have medicinally grown hemp flower, and hemp flower is not all the same. Do we, in just like a large 300 acres is not going to produce the same amount or same quality of hemp flower that, a small regenerative, 1 acre farm will be doing, or anything like that. So yeah, that's really what, kind of inspired, my life itself.
You got fired and you realize it could be your own boss, and look at what you've done now. So kudos.
Yeah, and
Kudos,
now I
kudos.
have such a hard time. I'm like,
Anybody do
I don't want to work for nobody. I'm like,
that,
I
right?
like I like my own schedule. I like the fact that all I have to be worried about are, myself and my family's internal morals and ethics, and I don't got to worry about somebody being nasty to me, or having to show up for 9 to 5, or having to deal with, my own medical issues, to being a good worker at the same time, like, because some days I'm like, I need down days sometimes, and it's not all the
You're
time, but
exhausted. So do you feel that since you have like 50 fur babies, do you have like a petting zoo too, or like a little kids farm so they can come on and do all that? So you almost got
yes.
the one stop shop there.
I
Besides,
tell everybody we basically have a petting zoo. I mean, we did have pigs for a while, but they got out and they got eaten, and
oh no,
like, we love all of the animals that we have. It's a little excessive sometimes, but yeah, I think they bring a lot of
you have a
light and
farm
love
and
into the day. Like, my donkey is just like, she's
ranch.
obsessed
Aw,
with me. Her name is Dolly. Obviously after
Dolly
Dolly
Parton.
Parton.
Right.
Yeah. And then my horse's name is Whiskey, but Dolly will just follow me around. She gives me little head massages and stuff, so she'll come put
Aw,
her face. And so, like, horses and donkeys and like zebras, they have the most sensors in their lips, so they can feel a lot out of a human. It's almost like they do, like, I don't know, they act like they're blind, and then they use their lips to like feel like, into like, actually like, draw a picture basically, like, of who you are, but
person.
based off of their lips. So when they meet somebody new, they're constantly going to go up and be like, like, put their lips on you, and they're going to want to feel, and like, kind of just like,
Well, I love it when that horses kiss you and lick you, and then you know they're liking their pets and getting them brushed, and
yeah.
it's just you're like, okay, thank you, And then how is that? That's
No, they're absolute
cute.
life. I'm like, I need them all. Like, my horse and my donkey, they've been in the back pasture recently, and I haven't been able to see them like every single day. And because, like, we rotated them out, and so finally we brought them back up to the front pasture, and now I can see them and hear them in the morning time. And like, you don't feel alone when you have all these animals.
It gives you definitely it's responsibility and gives you up in the morning because I got all these people to feed. I can't just sit here and lay in bed. So
Exactly, exactly. You're just like,
okay, so basically where you're going to from here. What are your goals? What are your ideas? What are your visions? What do you think you want to do later on? How else do you want to blow up this world? With your presence and your wonderful amazing self.
I think that's a very interesting question. I feel like I constantly live life doing GTA side quest, is what I feel like, of just, today I want to be an artist. Tomorrow I'd like to be a farmer. The next day I'd like to, I'd like to be a mechanic, like, or a welder or something like that. That's the beauty of having ADD and ADHD in life. It's not just specific to your everyday, you trying to do your laundry. Like, this shit, like, it affects your life of like how, what you want to do, like, on the average day. When it comes to like what I'm doing in the cannabis industry, I find myself very intrigued, on the nutrient side of things, learning more about plant biology, really taking the time to gather knowledge, and be able to present that back to like my community of, like, hey, I'm not just elevating you on a growing cycle of like how do you work with the plant itself, but like how do you understand like the actual the actual
Teaching and workshops.
connection between nutrients and like what pathways do they take and how does metabolism take place, and it's like how do all of those things work with the plant itself. And so I think that's a something personally, like I'm taking the time to make myself more encompassing of all of the different information that's out there. And so yeah, I mean, I think that like at the end of the day, for being able to expand out the education, and expand out different representation of things that I do. Like obviously like the farm comes first. And so like being on the farm, doing our hemp field like every single season. But it's like outside of that, the things that excite me, I would say it's like I love going to different events where I'm provided the platform to be able to speak on something that's educational, whether it's somebody wanting me to talk about content creation, or they want me to talk about farming, or they want me to talk about what it's like to be a woman in the cannabis industry, or they want me to talk about genetics or retail or whatever it is.
Sounds like you could write
um, those
a
are, yeah, those are the opportunities that
book.
I'm interested in, that I'm continuously seeking. And I love events and I love being able to go to them and, make it make it purposeful, and obviously seeing all of our friends that we have out there when we go to different events.
So what do you think of it? Maybe you should I would say like I don't know if you ever heard the watch who sorry Amazon there's a series called documentary called June Farms. I went up to Albany, New York. I lived there for a while, and he's created a wedding thing. So now you just need a barn, and then you can have educational workshops. Then you can do online classes if you put everything that you have a chapter for, whether it be content creation, growing, the medicinal, every that is a chapter or a new slideshow or a new class. So not only they could come and do the classes in your barn bar, or you could do them online. Like I can just see you going further. So I guess I'm giving you ideas, but that's where I can see like lots. Does that make sense
No,
for
I
you?
love that. I love that. Yeah.
I'm not trying to give you all this work. I'm just saying I can see, the amazing opportunities that you have not probably even grabbed a concept for, but I can just see so many beautiful things are in your way, or not in your way, but are in line to come to you. Does that make sense? Okay. If I
I
said that
need like two
right.
more identical versions of myself.
How do you carbon copy yourself? Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
that's why people have kids. So basically, I guess you have been such an amazing guest, and like, okay, so if you're teaching, how long, it is important. How do you feel about that? Because it's educate. Besides just growing, education is most important, right? Because again, how do you feel about the classification that Trump just signed? I think it's better because it never should have been a part of type one for drugs or whatever. Because I don't understand the thing about people saying marijuana is the gateway drug. People, when you're kids, you're going to try anything and everything just because people tell you no. So I mean, how do you feel
Yeah.
about where the marijuana can go from here? Because I really still feel, even we have 52 states, but we're only legalized from even medical in 37 or something, that we still have so much further to go for the education and to get this out there that people, there's some states that are still don't even have medical because marijuana is medical. It's so much cheaper. It's so much better as a medicine, and education that goes with it. How can we get that out?
Yeah. So I personally feel, as somebody that has experienced, firsthand the effect of the war on drugs, and having, like my brother, my aunts, my uncles, they've spent time in prison and have lost, that time being home with family, have lost relationships, have lost the ability to, go apply for certain jobs or do certain things in their life because of the effect of, those charges. And so when I think about legalization, um, I think about I think about the prisoners that are still sitting they're
in
still
jail
sitting
for
in their
marijuana.
cell right now. And it's like we have Edwin Rubies. And so having having the conversation around like, oh, like, what do you feel about the legalization, or what do you feel about the classification, or like, the new regulations. And so, like, that's all fine and dandy. um I think often, we don't know what the cause and effect is going to be truly be until those, things take place or till time is given. But I think that I bringing the conversation always back to prisoners of cannabis itself is like the most important thing that we can, provide advocacy, to.
Drop charges
um
for marijuana, right? Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, because I'm like, people are still gonna smoke, they're still gonna do what they want to do, they're still gonna flip pounds, they're still
We're
gonna
not
do
the
whatever.
70s anymore for sure.
But, like giving space and giving light, and awareness to to organizations, like Freedom Grow, Prisoners Project, Beard Bros, all of these, organizations that have specifically made it their mission
Farmer
that any kind of restructuring should come with some kind of reform, and some call to action to be made for prisoners that are currently still incarcerated, from those things.
So, what would you say to somebody coming in and or I guess you should probably, I would say that you probably had this a lot. Like somebody come up to you and say, "Wow, I really can, especially like me, that you're a badass, that you're, out there, that you're trying to educate, you're trying to be a role model and see one, do one, teach one, lead one." And that's just how. What would you say to somebody coming up to you that wanted to come up and be your mentor, or somebody that's trying to get into the situation, and tell how, okay, what advice would you give them?
I would tell them that, it starts with clarity. You can devise yourself a list of 10 things that you want to do, but maybe not all of them you can make an actual business plan for. The ones that you can make a business plan for are the ones that are probably going to be the ones that you achieve. And when you set yourself up with that clarity of how are you going to actually transpire your idea into something that is profitable itself, I have a lot of ideas, right? And so like I said, I'm like, every day I can make my own GTA side quest. And when I think about doing something like that, I think, well, what's actually going to make me money right now, right? So yes, I want to learn how to, do this new form of like jewelry welding, right? Like that's like side project. I want to learn how to do this. But maybe today I need to focus on what's making me money. And so when I think about like my free time or what I'm going to build business wise, it's not always about what I can do, it's about what's actually logical for me to do. And so it's like you need to sit there and think about what is your goal? How are you going to make it profitable? And how do you take that idea and make it an actual business plan? And this business plan is something that you should be following throughout your whole year. And then when you come back and you look at your financial aspect, if your finances didn't match up to what you're doing by a big scale, you may not want to do that anymore,
How do you
because do we have to be starving artists like all of us? And it's like, I don't want to just like keep expending money. I want to make money. So maybe that wasn't the right project for me, and that's okay. I will use that to transpire into something new. So, like, I think if you have somebody that, if you yourself, you're looking for, mentorship, you're looking for certain things, I think the best way to achieve, one, having a mentorship is, being concise on what you want to do. Because if somebody comes to me and they say, I like doing this, I'm gonna be like, wait, stop and figure out what it is that you love, and what it is and how you're going to be able to achieve that. And then once you get that right there, once you do that, here's an outline for a business plan. Here's an outline for your projected business costs that you have. Fill that out, send that back to me, and then let's talk about how you're going to achieve that right there. And so I think that, like, understanding that it's your responsibility sometimes to kind of have some of these things figured out a little bit, and then you can ask for
yourself
help. Yeah, exactly. Because you can't just like throw a bunch of like dust in the wind and be like, oh, I hope this one lands over here. Like, nobody has time for that. But, I think that, like, especially when it comes to setting yourself up to get a response back from people, is not overloading them. And so it's like, if you don't have like if you don't have just a goal or a certain mindset to start with, the likelihood of you getting the most out of your mentorship is, it's not optimal. And
So,
sometimes
well,
people won't even
you know,
respond to
looking
people.
at, you want it to be an attainable goal, insurmountable. I want to own a hot air balloon company. I mean, you know what I mean? That you wanted to make it that because you want to make it so that way you're going to be confident that you're going to succeed. So you don't want it to make, that you have to jump a football field, but that you can
Yeah.
just snap your fingers and come up with this idea and then see where you can research that a little bit. And then that will empower you and excite you to keep going.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, like, things like ChatGPT and like your Google AI like software systems now, they have a lot of great features on there that for small business owners or for entrepreneurs or anything like that, kind of formulating out what you want to do, or looking up different structures. Or if you're like, hey, like, I do this podcast, and I do it, I do this four times a month. This is, quote, how much I'd like to, how much time I spend on it, how much, how should I create a sponsorship program, or, like, for companies, right? And so it's like asking ChatGPT, like, what things should I consider? Like, how should I, like, how do I market it? How do I give their
Help you
brand
understand.
visibility? And so I think that, like, it's really cool. And I think that everybody, I know that people are like, AI is going to be the downfall, blah, blah, blah. But I think you're sleeping and you're missing out on the power of AI as a small business owner.
Well, no, I
And then
understand because
it's,
that logo
it
behind
doesn't
you,
matter
I
your
created on
age,
Canva
just do
using an AI.
it.
So, and then I thought, oh my God, they got me perfectly. Like, I was like, ah! So, hence
Yeah,
now the
right?
logo. So, well, and basically, it's knowing the tools that you have, and don't think that you have to do it all on your own, and think that you're not the only one. You're not going to be the last. You're not going to be the first one, or you're not going to be the last one. So you got to realize, okay, no matter what, somebody's going to follow you, whether it's good or bad or indifferent. How can you make it
Exactly.
easier? And how can you pass on the education? So then it's just here's the concept. Here you go. Everybody can take
Yep.
it, the shell, and work with it, and then see all the beautiful things in the world that we've created together.
Yeah. Exactly. And I mean, anybody, anybody can be a mentor to you. Anybody can be a leader. Maybe it's somebody that has a lot of calmness in your life and you're like, "Man, I want to achieve that right there." And then it's like maybe you have somebody in your life that's really good at like brand partnerships, or you have somebody that's good at launching, different like product launches or podcast launches, or maybe they're a graphic designer or like something like that. There's so many inspirations that we can find in our just immediate
Hence
circle.
this
And if your
podcast, trying to
circle
inspire
doesn't look
people.
like that, then you should find a different circle of people that are going to inspire you.
I think you're amazing, and I'm honored and I'm in awe because I to be able to know you, to be able to talk with you, and just bounce things off. You can never have enough people, and you were a tool and a treasure in my box. So I mean, I want to say.
Ah,
I want to say thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to give you some applause. Here we go. Ready? Thank you. Thank you so much, mommy. Ranchera Mommy. Okay. And let's see. Here we go. Ready? Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much, Susan, for being here today. But my next guest for next week or for next month is going to be Paris Rad from the Blunt Brunch, and I can't wait. I'm really
woo.
going to be there in Europe because I really had originally they are supposed to be my group for or my guests for December, but I'm so glad Mary Jane just stepped in because they were busy trying to put on the Blunt Brunch Pearls Up thing in Vegas for MJ BizCon. So I got Parisa Rad. I'm very excited. She's an amazing person. They did Event High and they do Blunt Brunch, and that being a mom and juggling all of these things. So I'm really looking forward to speaking with her. We hope you walk away inspired to create the difference you want to see in the world. Remember to share the love. See one, do one, teach one, lead one. You are not alone. Pinky's Powerhouse Posse grows with every new listener. Join the tribe. Follow us on Instagram and subscribe on YouTube. So thank you so much, Sue. Sue, you're a blessing, and I can't wait to see what new things develop with you and where you go. And I will stay tuned for every minute to watch. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Love you, Pinky.